So welcome everybody to today's session of UiPath Agentic AI Enablement Series. I've already mentioned that we have several people doing these sessions. I think you guys met Mukesh and Nadia, Ebru, and Lagesh is doing the chat with us, and Rahul have all presented. So today I want to have Stefano and Gabriel just introduce themselves. So if you guys want to do that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Diana. So, hi everyone. Really excited to present on this session. I'm Stefano Negro from Italy. I'm a senior automation developer at Boundaryless Group. I'm working into the RPA and now agentic field for the last 7 years, and I'm also full-time UiPath MVP for the last 4 years and also organizer for the UiPath Italian community. So really thank you everyone for participating in this session.
Thank you, Stefano. And Gabriel?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for your interest on being here in this series. And I'm Gabriel Marin. I'm a 4-time MVP. I'm from Argentina, working as solution architect for clients in different countries in Americas region. I've been working with RPA and automation solution for many years, and also more than 20 years in the industry working in IT. But also had the chance to work in different industries like healthcare and more recently in insurance companies. So here, happy to help in your learning journey.
Great. We're looking forward to hearing from you guys today. So the last thing I wanted to go over before we get started is just important links that you guys need to know. So if you still need to register for tomorrow's session, you'll find that on the series page. And then if you want to find the video that we're taping today, it'll be available tomorrow, and that will be on the America Virtual Event page. And then if you have any questions for anybody who's on the call, the MVPs that are here with us today, the forum thread is where you want to go to ask the questions that you might have. And then the other thing I'm just going to bring up, and I'll bring it up again tomorrow, is that we are having a workforce agentic automation story contest. I will be posting the information for this to the series page after these sessions are over. So please look for that when you go to that series page. And then the other thing is just make sure you're reading your homework. You're trying to keep up with that. We're here to help you through that too. So if you have questions about the homework and the self-paced content, we expect you to finish that, but you can ask any questions you have about that on the forum as well. So with that, I'm just going to stop sharing and turn it over to Gabriel.
Thanks, Diana. Okay, again, welcome to this third session of Upskill to Agentic Automation. Let me share my screen so we can continue with our agenda for today. Okay, you should be seeing my screen now.
Yes, I see it.
Okay, first of all, as we are now moving to this third session, and the idea is to talk about how to build your first agent with UiPath. We know that some of you may have some previous experience apart from the prerequisite that we recommended you to do on the trainings in the academy. So if you can write on the chat AI agents, if you have some previous experience creating at least once an AI agent, put AI agent on the chat, please, so we can know from you. Okay, good. So moving forward with the agenda for today, let's see what we are going to talk about. First of all, we are going to do a short recap of what we've seen so far, because probably many of you have been present on the previous sessions, on session 1, on session 2. Now we are in session 3, and we are introducing new features, also new products or services within the UiPath platform. So recap will help us to understand where we are. Then we will move to how can I start creating agents, but focusing on autonomous agents, and also how we can create an agent from scratch by using UiPath Studio Web. And we will be covering this topic with the help also of demonstrations. So I will be covering most of the slides, and Stefano will help us with the technical side and the demonstration. Okay, let's do short recap of what we have learned so far. In session 1, we talked about, of course, agentic automation. We had a very good introduction to the topic with a very good illustrated with that manual car, that remote control car, that agentic car. Mukesh explained what is this evolution of automation from manual task, automated task with robots, and now automated with agents. We also compared side by side, and we will continue talking a bit more about comparing agentic automation and robots. And we also mentioned something that is very important, that is robots and agents combined create automation solution, and it's not that just agents replace robots. So we talk about this introduction and key concept. And yesterday we cover Autopilot, but as Autopilot is a brand that introduces AI features in many parts of the UiPath platform, we need to remember or highlight that what we covered yesterday was Autopilot for everyone. That is a type of conversational agent that is accessed from UiPath Assistant, and that can be helpful for the task that any employee of an organization can have. So today we will also talk about Autopilot, but in a different way, because now we will see Autopilot for developers, for example, for creating agents. More on that on a future slide. And also Studio Web that you can see here in blue. That is the tool that we will use to create this kind of autonomous agents, and we will see also in the demonstration. So to review the concept of agents, so we mentioned that agents are the next evolution in automation. They operate in dynamic, non-deterministic environments, and they can plan, act, learn, and adapt. If we have a previous knowledge on RPA or robots, we know that they follow a defined path. But as we are going to see, these robots and agents is not something that one is replacing the other or that compete, if not that can be combined in automation solution, and we are going to do that today are covering that on today's session. And why we say this, because we know that agents do a better job because of its probabilistic and adapting nature and the capabilities of taking decisions and learning. But in the same time, we also need in automations some tasks that can be executed in a predefined way, because we need it that way, and we need a precise execution and a validated execution. So that is why the combination of both parts creates a strong and reliable solutions, automation solutions. Let's do also a recap on some important key concepts. One is context grounding. What is this? Context grounding is the information that we can provide to the agent, information that if we provide, it can have knowledge of or guidelines of our organization. It can be more aligned and compliant with what we want to do and where it is executing. For example, if you already cover the training in the academy, you can see that some context grounding can be an email template. That is the template used in that organization for that particular department. So it can be now the agent knows how the email has to be sent in which way, and don't have to design it by itself. But there are many uses of context grounding. Prompting, we covered a lot of that in session 1, and you can review the video and the presentation that is already uploaded in the event page. So if you want to go back to focus on that part of how to create good prompts for agents, you can go back to that great presentation that we have in day 1. Tools that are in charge of task execution. These tools can be RPA process or robots, as we were mentioning in previous slide. And also escalation, that is when we want the human in the loop, or a human validation. So if we consider that some step needs a human validation, we define escalations. We will see this also in a practical way in the demonstration. Okay, let's move back to how to create an agent. We have at least 3 ways on how to start. You may think of, okay, I want to do something. I want to create my first agent. So how can I do it? Okay, I can create it from a pre-built agent, something that a collaborator shared to me, something that I found in the community and I received, or many of the templates that are available if you access to Studio Web. You will find many templates that you can reuse and edit if necessary. Also, you have Autopilot. And as we mentioned, this is a different way to use Autopilot. This is Autopilot helping us to develop or to create or build an agent. We give Autopilot an idea of our agent, and it helps us creating the starting point. Or we can do everything by ourselves, create it from scratch with a studio. So 3 ways to do this. If we work with Autopilot, as I mentioned, we can give this AI power feature our idea, and this can be very helpful if we are we are beginners, and it's like having a specialist beside us helping us on how to do or how to create good prompts and other setup for the agent. And it's a good starting point, so we can provide a prompt with our idea to Autopilot, and then we can review what it creates for us. That way, Autopilot can provide us the input and output arguments. Also, it will craft the system prompt and the user prompt needed for our agent, and can choose also right tools for what we are requesting. Okay, so if we are going to create this type of agents that we have been mentioning from day 1, but in this case we are now categorizing it as autonomous agents, you can access to a Studio Web, and you will see how to do it step by step in the demonstration. And the first things that you need to do if you do it from scratch, or if you choose to work with Autopilot, is to elaborate or write your prompts or review your prompts if you did this with the help of Autopilot. You can choose also some other settings depending on your plan. You can choose different models, or if you are in community plan, you have less options on this part. As we mentioned, the agents will or can use existing tools. We have different tools, different categories of tools. So the tools that we can add to our agent can be RPA workflows that we have already built, that we can build at the same time with the Studio Web, pre-existing agents, or activities that we have available from other part of the UiPath platform, that is integration services. These activities can execute different actions and will require some connections to the system that will operate. More on that on a next slide. But before passing to that part, I will pass the presentation to Stefano. So he will present the first steps of how to build an agent directly from Studio Web.
Okay, thank you very much, Gabriel, for the initial part of the presentation. I'm just gonna share my screen. Okay, let me know if you can see it.
I can see it.
I think you can. Okay, so just to take from what Gabriel just mentioned, you can easily build an agent from the Studio Web part of the UiPath platform. It's possible to build it both in the enterprise version and in the community version. In the community version, there are a little less features than the enterprise version. I'll use today for the demo a community version. So if you want to follow along, and if you only have a community version, you should be fine. There is a limitation on the number of AI units that is possible to use in the community version, of course, but just for demonstration purpose, it will be enough. So in order to create an agent, it's possible to follow different paths. It's possible to, as Gabriel mentioned, just go into the Studio Web part and build a solution with an agent inside, or alternatively, you can go into the agent tab and build it from there. It's the same way, just different links that brings to the same window. I'll just go to the agent page, so it's I can also showcase how it looks like. So this is the initial part. As you said, maybe if you just enter it for the first time, you wouldn't see the recent agents part, but the rest will be exactly the same. As you can see below, there is also a monitoring part, which is quite interesting. It's possible to monitor the agents that have already been run, or agents that are currently running, and also different instances for the agents. I'll just show it to you another orchestrator that I have where I already run some previous agents, so you can see how it looks like. In this case, there are just 2 agents, but this is what it looks like. So it showcases the errors. It's also really interesting to see that it shows the agent unit consumption, so you know which agency is consuming the most usage and also manage them, and the single instances of each agent. So you can also go into the single run for that agent and see what it did. So as we said, to create a new agent, there is a quite exemptions button that you can click. As you see, it brings you to the UiPath Studio page. So it's the same as going from the UiPath Studio directly into the building of the agent. Okay, so we are in the creation agent page. As you can see, it's possible to create an autonomous agent, which is, let's say, a standard agent. And also lately, it's been added the possibility to create a conversational agent, which is just the same as an autonomous, but acts as a chatbot. So it doesn't end after the answer, but it's possible to go on. Right now, since this version is still in preview, we will create an autonomous agent, but you can also try to create a conversational agent, or if you already tried and you have questions, feel free to ask. As you see below, it's possible to create an agent using Autopilot, so just writing what the agent should do, and the autopilot feature, which is quite powerful, will suggest all these steps to create the agent. Now we will start fresh just to show you the step from the beginning, but you can also try it later to do the same with the autopilot help. And if we have time, maybe we can also improve our agent using autopilot. So as Gabriel mentioned, this is the main window, and the main components are the one that you see, and also Mukesh already showcased them in the first session if you were there. So in the system prompt, you have to define what is the task where that agent will do. In the user prompt, you will put the prompt that is required from the user point of view to work for the agent, and then the other components that we'll see once we use them. On the left, you see this is the solution window. You can imagine this as sort of a folder structure. So the solution is the main folder. Inside, it automatically created an agent. You can also rename it if you want. And inside the agent, there are the 3 main components of the agent, which are the definition, which is actually this window, the evaluation sets, which is where you can use the evaluations to test the agent. We see also later how it works, and the evaluators, which are actually the components for the evaluation sets. Below, you see that it's also possible to add other components, because as I mentioned, this is a full solution. And also, as Gabriel mentioned, it's possible to assign tools that the agent will use. So for example, if you want to create an RPA workflow, you can directly add an RPA workflow from here. Or if you want to add an app or even another agent that an agent can use, you can do it directly from here. And all these components will also be shown below. So if you use other components that we will see later, they will be shown in the data properties part, which is below. On the top left, an important part is also the data manager, which includes the arguments of the agent. So you can imagine an agent like a normal, usual RPA workflow, that when you execute it, it takes some inputs and it retrieves some output that show at the end. So you can use the input as queries that the user will prompt, and the output will be, of course, the answer to the queries. You can add the inputs and outputs directly from here, and we see in a minute how to do that. Well, the other two are not kind of useful right now, but I just say what they are. The issue panel, obviously, that if there are some errors, they are shown here. And the deployment configuration is just useful when you publish the agent, so you can configure, like for example, if you have some connectors, you can configure them directly from the deployment configuration page. So to go on with our demo, we will try to create an HR assistant in which an employee can ask some HR-related inquiries, and the agent will answer those inquiries. So we can do that step by step with adding different components for the agent, one every time. I'll just copy and paste the prompt so it's faster than just typing, but I will just explain to you in the meantime what the system prompt is about. So this is quite simple. It's just the goal of the agent. So it's a HR assistant designed to help employees with HR related questions. Like for example, we can add a tool that uses an RPA process that it's already been built, in which the process, I can also show it from here, it gets as an input the employee email and the request for vacation days, and it uses a web portal, which is a simple portal that it's been built just for demo purposes, but it can be also a real business portal. So for example, a SuccessFactors portal or a CRM in which the RPA inputs as I said, the name, the email and the days, and it retrieves the result of the request. So if the request was accepted or if it was refused, for example, because there are no more days available for the user. And this will be called by the tool. But before adding the tool, we just complete the system prompt. So a primary function, process vacation days using the request web tool. Instruction on doing that: when you handle vacation, use the HR data retrieval web tool to submit the request and provide information back to the user in order to reply to that request. And finally, since right now we only have this one function, we just tell the agent to reply back with that question, and if that question is not related to that tool, it doesn't reply anything. So it's not that it doesn't reply anything, but it replies that it cannot reply, let's say. So as you saw in the RPA process, there were two inputs that we also provide there. As if you were already here on the first session, Mukesh already showed that this is the way where the arguments can be retrieved from the data manager to the user prompt. Right now they are on red because I didn't create them in the data manager, but I can do it right now. So I can just go to the data manager, add a property, and put it as employee email. And the other property, I just write it directly as query. So this is the second property. You see that it automatically creates an output, which is the content, which for us is just fine. But if you request or you need more output, you can also add it as the same way. We also add other information to the tool prompt. These are not strictly necessary, but it's useful for the agent to know more information regarding the prompt. So usually the prompt can also just be, this is the employee email, this is the query, and extract the number of days, and that's it. It's just to make it more precise. So what we do right now in order to make the agent use the RPA is to go to Add Tool, as Gabriel shows. Yeah, as you can see, there are 4 different kind of tools that we can use. We can directly select automation. This is already the automation that we need to use. But if in case we don't have the automation yet, we can just go to create automation. It will bring us to the Studio Web part to create an automation, and we can create that one. So an important part, which can also, if you are used to the RPA, pure RPA, sometimes you can skip that, but in the agent is really important, which is the description. So you might know that when you publish an automation, it asks for the description, and maybe 99% of the time you leave it blank. In the agent, it's actually really important to add the description because it's the way the agent knows when and how to use a tool instead of another. So we just add the description of what this tool does in order to let the agent know that this is actually the correct tool to use. It's also important to add the description here, as it's shown. This is just all descripted because the agent is a large language model, so it takes every information as a text. So I'll just add the description of what the fields are about. It's kind of easy, but it's also easy to forget to do this. So it's important to add it. And so, yeah, that's it. Our agent should be fine if I didn't forget anything. Let me just check if, okay, of course, the machine went off, so I have to take it on again. In the meantime, I'll just show it to you how we can run an agent to just test it. You see on the top that there is the debug part of the agent. It's also possible to debug it step by step in case of an agent that has more than one step. In our case, it's just one, so it's the same. And when an agent is ready, you can publish it just like any other solution. It will be published to the orchestrator, and it will be available to use inside other agents or within an RPA project or whatever you prefer. I'll just launch the machine again in the meantime. Okay, so if you see, I clicked on the debug. So right now it asks for the input, obviously, because it expects 2 different inputs, as I mentioned in the agent. When you then publish this agent, you can use it inside a workflow or a Maestro workflow or an RPA, so you can just pass that input automatically, just as any other solution that you will use. In the debug, it's also possible to simulate some tools. So if you don't want to run it, you can simulate the input and the output. In our case, we can just run it because we are brave to see if it actually works. So we can put the email, which is actually my email, and the query I want to take for vacation days. Okay, so let's run it and see if it works. after it runs, as you can see, it's also there is the execution trail below, and it shows step by step what the agent is doing. As you can see, it already launched the HR data retrieval. I just try to show if it runs live on the machine, because this is a pure RPA process, so it runs on an unattended machine, which is actually should be this one. Okay, so it's lagging a little bit, but I think you should see it work. Okay, so it's, I don't know if you saw it because it was a little bit lagging. I saw it, but I think if you take my word, it actually put the email and the vacation days request. And you can see here below that it as output, it received just request accepted. And then the agent retrieved that answer and created a content tailored for the output. So it doesn't get the same output, but since we asked to maintain a professional and helpful tone, it also toned up the output to the user. So it says your request for vacation days has been processed. If you have any other question, feel free to ask. So as you can see, in less than 10 minutes, I think, we build an agent that can use one RPA processes inside. You can build inside that process any automation that you want that is also can also be complex, and the agent automatically understand when to use that automation and when to do other action. As we can see in a few minutes what are the actions we can do. So I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll pass back the microphone to Gabriel in order to go on with the presentation.
Thank you, Stefano. It is good to see how it is in the real world. Okay, let's go back to the presentation to explain some other parts. Let me share again. Okay, we mentioned tools, and I want to highlight a couple of things. One is that, for example, in this case, Stefano had a tool that was already built. So any RPA process created in Studio or Studio Well can be used, selected from the list if it is already published. But we can also create the workflow or the tool, the automation at the same time. If we have some knowledge on how to do it with the Studio Web, that you can access also the related training for this if you want to learn more about how to do it. And the other part is the activities. If you select activities, you have from the UiPath platform, from integration services, you have pre-built connectors and activities for any of these systems, and also for UiPath Gen AI activities. So if you want the agent to use as tool Box activity, because you're using Box and you have a subscription, you can connect to Box and use some of the available activities, but you can also leverage some of the activities that are part of the UiPath platform from GenAI, like Web Reader, Web Search, and Web Summary. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about context and escalations. So we mentioned these concepts. We can give the agent the relevant information that it can use for understanding better the guidelines of what to do, and how we give context to the agent. If we go to this section of add context, we have the option to select some setup and select the context location. That can be an storage bucket, that is a storage location for files within the UiPath platform, or with the help of a connector, we can also connect to a Google Drive, OneDrive, Confluence, or Dropbox storage. So the agent can have that set of files available in those locations as context. And we can also define the escalations and the criteria to use that. And we will also explain a little bit more about that with the help of the demonstration. Some best practices that we want to mention regarding these last two. For example, while choosing your grounding source, always ask, is this information dynamic or static? We should use connectors for frequently changing content, like policies or documentation, and storage buckets for stable version control files, information that is not changing so frequently. And some criteria or some best practice on how to use escalation is asking ourselves what situations truly require human intervention. So we rely on these decision capabilities of agent. So not every agent decision needs a manual check. If not, it will not be an automation, or will be an automation that does only part of the job. But you have a complete set of best practices if you already access to the training that is defined as prerequisite for this session. You will see that you have a comprehensive document with these and many others best practices that you can follow to have good result while creating your agents. Okay, we can go back to Stefano with the next steps of the building of the agents, and then we can talk at the end, if we have some time, about setup.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'll just share my screen again. Just want, before going on, answer a quick question that I saw in the chat, which is quite interesting and I forgot to mention. And it is if actually the data, so the arguments can be used just in the user prompt or also in the system prompt. Because in my case, I just put them in the user prompt, but it's also possible to put them directly in the system prompt. So instead of just writing the instructions like this, you can also use the HR data retrieval web with employee email and query as input, and just link employee email and query. So you can use the inputs and outputs also in the system prompt.
Stefano,
And
maybe
so,
while we're answering questions, can I add another one that I think is
sure.
interesting and is linked to the demo? Okay, thank you. So someone is asking, they're a little bit confused between the role of agents and the role of just RPA processes, workflows. And the person is asking, as the example shows, like using an HR tool, just by using email and query, that can I directly pull from user interface to RPA tool? So what exactly agent plays a significant role in? So can you just state the difference between why do we use agent and what's the difference between just doing the task with an RPA automation?
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you.
So as you saw here, when I launched this RPA automation, I used the description of the two fields, but this is just an arbitrary description that with the agent capabilities, it will be retrieved from the query. As you saw in the query, I did not put the email and the vacation days, and that's it. I actually wrote a full sentence, which was this one. I don't know if it's small and you can see it anyway, but the request was, I want to take 4 vacation days. If you inputted this directly into the RPA, it won't work because it doesn't have just the number of vacation days. So the ability of using the agent first is that regardless of the structure and the nature of the input, the agent will be able to retrieve the information that we need and then pass it to the RPA to be used. I did not show it but actually this was the call where the RPA was called. So this is the RPA. The employee email is this one, which is always the same, but I could also have written my email is and this email, and the agent will just put the email. And in days requested, it correctly extracted just the number of days. So this is a simple agent with just one task. So I agree that it's not that useful to create an agent like this, but it's also powerful in the way that you can give this agent to anyone, and regardless of the input, it will use the vacation retrieval automation, and it will work correctly. So just to make this agent a little bit more interesting, we can add another point just by using another one of the capabilities that Gabriel just mentioned, which is the context. So for example, we can add another step asking the assistant to provide any information related on internal policies and guidelines using a context grounding tool. So what the agent will do is it keeps doing the same thing, but if the request is not about vacations, it uses the HR policies context grounding in order to extract the relevant data. Gabriel already explained what is a context grounding, so we just saw directly how to use it. We just also have to add another part in the user prompt, which again, it's not necessary, but it's useful for make a better prompt also from the user point of view. So just if it's a vacation days request, these are the steps to take. If it's another request, use the context grounding with the query and try to extract information. I'll just remove the escalate part because it's not done yet. So in order to use a context grounding, we just use add context. Right now, I already have created one context grounding tool just because there isn't much time, but in order, you can just click on create new. It will bring you to the context grounding part. You can add as many documents as you want. And after that, you can create an index. The index is like a tokenization of the documents that the agent uses to retrieve data from the context grounding. The documents can be of any type. In my case, I used a PDF and a TXT file, but it's also possible to use Excel files and any other JSON files and any other type of files that you can imagine. So as before, the description is important. So we just add what this context grounding part contains. And then we can run again the bot and see if it actually works. So this was the query from before. I can remove the employee email because it's not useful. I can also leave it there. And I can ask a query which is not related to vacation days, but for some policies. Like, for example, what is the policy regarding remote work? I'm not sure if it's actually present in the documents, but let's see. If it's not present, it should answer that it doesn't have the information. So now we run it, and we see in the execution trail what it does. Okay, so as you can see, I'll make it a little bit bigger. It took the LLM call. It already correctly launched the HR policies part, and actually it already has an output, which is the company remote work policy allows employees to request up to 2 more days, and so on and so forth. So this is all information that is being took from this file, which is employee policies PDF at page number 2. So it actually retrieved the information from using the context grounding part. Right now I just use one, but and it correctly went to HR policies, but it's a bit more powerful. The agent you can ask for vacation days, or you can ask for any other information related to the HR guidelines and policies. One last thing that I want to mention, because we don't have much time left. You see in the history tab that it also shows the launches that the agent did before, and for each launch execution, you can click on add to evaluation set, and it will create an evaluation set for that input and that output. What are the evaluation set? They are used in order to test the agent, in order to check if you further change the agent, or if you have different inquiries, you can check in the evaluation if the answer provided is correct or not. There are different types of evaluation. There is the semantic evaluation, which compares the output to a standard output that you set up. And if the semantic is similar, then it's okay. There is also the exact match evaluation. Like, for example, if the agent retrieves just the number of vacation days that the user will ask, it's a fixed number. So it's that number or nothing. So the answer is either correct or wrong. In that case, you can use an exact match evaluation. And you can add the evaluation. When you add the evaluation, you will find that in the evaluation set. So as you can see, now I have one evaluation. I can run the evaluation set. Now it doesn't make much sense because I just run the execution. But when you run the evaluation set, it will just show if the result is correct or not. So if, for example, in 1 week from now we change the agent, we add some other features, we can run again the evaluations. So this one, and check if the answer is always the same one as the expected, or if it's not correct anymore, and then we can go back and change it again. Okay, so I'm not sure if I think we have 3 minutes left, so I don't think we have much time to show also the escalation, but I think maybe it's better to just if there are any other questions related to the demo or the theoretical part, we can just took it. And
can you take some questions, Stefano, since you're on the demo?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I think the part about how the automation communicates with agent was not really clear. Someone is asking how the output of the RPA automation is consumed by the agent.
Okay, I'll share again my screen and I can show it. Okay, so maybe it's also easier to just show also here. So when an agent, so when you add an RPA as a tool for an agent, it means that an agent can decide whether to launch the automation or not. If it decides to launch the automation, it will automatically create the input and the output for that automation. So regardless of, so this was my query. I want to take for vacation days. In the execution of the agent understood that the question was related to the vacation days. It extracted the number of vacation days, which is 4, and it launched the automation, which is this one. When it launches the automation, it's executed in the orchestrator, just like any other automations. So if you go into jobs, you see that 20 minutes ago, this automation was launched. You can also see that the input was the same that I just showed right now, the email and the number of vacation days. And the output is also shown in the log. It's this one, result request accepted. So the agent retrieves the output, which is this one, request accepted. It understood the output and it creates an answer right back to the user, which is tailored on the output, which was request accepted. So it says that it's been accepted, but it's in more formal and semantical way. So for example, if we will add to the agent, say that the request is accepted, and also say that in order to confirm the request, you have to write to your supervisor, it will also add that in the output. And obviously I didn't mention it, but since the automation runs normally as an orchestrator, you need to have an unattended license if you want to add it on your machine, and you have to assign the user to the license and so on. Everything that usually needs to be done for an automation, that's the normal RPA part. What it's one step more is that it's the agent that launches the automation and has the capability to also input and output the data into the automation.
Good, thank you,
Very
Stefano.
good.
Okay. So.
Okay, thank you so much. We know that there are a couple more questions. Remember that the forum thread is available for you to keep asking your question or screenshots. If you want to share something and you need our assistance, we'll be watching it. And also, we recommend checking the training that is a prerequisite for this session that covers some part of the question. And there is also in the Academy additional trainings for the ones that are interested on how to create the automations with the help of Studio Web, and more on the whole usage of a Studio Web for creating this solution that can combine RPA as first part and agents and RPA as tools that are different ways that you can build a solution in Studio Web.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Gabrielle and Stefano, for presenting today, and all the people working in the chat. A lot of good activity and questions, and we're really looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you all.
everyone. Bye.